next thing, under 25 bracket. So this has been going on for 8 weeks now?
No,
It feels like a while. Was there a
maybe.
hangover?
That's probably what. There's about 4 or 5 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds. So 5 weeks, just over a month.
Okay, so for those that don't know what we're talking about, the under 25 bracket summary.
Yeah, we put a bracket up, like I said, about 5 weeks ago. Had 32 of the best players 25 and under, which, still a lot of really good players. That dates back to the 2018 draft. So your Rosies, your Butters, Blakey, Bailey Smith, the King boys. So there's heaps. And you come all the way up to, I don't think we had anyone from last year's draft, but you've got your Harley Reeds as well, Nick Dacos's. To see, what the fans thought. We didn't really vote on this. It was just putting it up on Instagram polls and seeing what everyone thought. It was I think the 2 favourites made it to the final in Dacos and Darcy. There was obviously some interesting ones early into the year, like when Finn Callahan had some good early season form. He managed to outvote Matt Rao, which I think a lot of people thought was quite the surprise. Harry Sheasel outdoing Isaac Rankin was an interesting one, I thought. But the final one went up last week. Nick Dacos won. I think the count was about 64 to 36% in Dacos's favour. So we thought that those 2 would be the 2 in the final.
That's not a huge shock to anyone, I don't think.
No. But it was going to be interesting to see what like we said when we launched it, the Dacos love versus Dacos hate. Because he is, I think it's fair to say he'd probably deserve to be.
Honestly, I think the Dacos hate is overrepresented, because even neutral fans can just appreciate that Dacos
but
very good.
There's people that either just hate him because of Collingwood or the name, or just the style of his game that they think he plays, even though he's he's a very contested, heavy football player.
I was actually surprised that Darcy not surprised, but Darcy making it all the way to the final. So who did he beat to get into the
Sam
final?
Darcy.
Yeah.
So he started with Hayden Young, knocked him off quite comfortably, then came up against Bailey Smith, again quite comfortable, and then went 70+% against Zach Butters as well in this.
Wow.
And then up against Caleb Sarong in a semi-final and went 70+%. So
that's just tough. I feel like if Sarong wasn't getting tagged this year, he may have figured him out that.
If Brayshaw's a year off, but if Brayshaw was in here, it would have been quite interesting. And then
but even beating Bailey Smith though too, especially on the year, because Smith's been good all year. And I'm most people that are voting this are going to be paying attention to their most recent form.
Yeah, I said, it was quite interesting to see how players were performing early into the year and how they were getting favoured compared to what people might have thought of their careers to date or their longevity prospects. So on the flip side, Dacos knocked off Soligo, Rosie, Nazar Wangani, Millera, and Errol Goulden to get there. So I think he not too hard of a run, I don't think. Rosie, second round probably. Might have been his toughest. Wangani and Millera did okay. No one really got close to him though. And then even Darcy polled, 64% or something. So
did we measure the percentage of how if they had a percentage on the AFL ladder and how you had a percentage how much you beat the other team by? Yeah, I'm sure Dacos was a pretty similar split in all his battles, 60-40 at least.
Yeah, he went 79% against Soligo, 80% against Rosie, 73% against Nazar Wangani Millera, and then 74% against Errol. So
that's not surprising.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent. We didn't have too many blowouts. I think Sarong against Max King and Chad Warner against Ben King were maybe our biggest.
What was the closest? Battle.
There was this is probably another stiff one. Noah Anderson went out in the first round to Wangani and Millera. That was 49 to 51%. So doesn't get literally doesn't get too much closer.
I mean, yeah. If he was a Victorian player,
Anderson.
Yeah,
definitely.
Just one of those kind of things. Yeah. So, but to be fair, you had Goulden and Sarong make the semis. You had Butters, Warner also make the final 8. So pretty even. But as we expected, Dacos Darcy in the final, then Dacos knocked him off. So you can check out the full bracket on our Instagram page and Facebook this week.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Right. So if we did a over 30s,
this would be interesting.
Are we doing one?
We probably could actually.
We should. I reckon.
It'd be interesting if it goes off form or just their careers, because they're a bit more set in stone. Gorn, Dangerfield, Still Sideboard going off current forms probably.
Yeah, that's
Wait, so is this one based off form or career?
There wasn't really any voting criteria. It's just putting it out there, and the fans' behaviour
Who
of
has
decided
the prettiest picture? I mean, you would have to go off career though.
I think a lot of people would.
Yeah.
I think you'll get a little bit that are maybe voting on form, and that's where Sidebottom might get a pretty good run. Libba as well, Max Gawn as well. Like those three have been really good. Dangerfield. If you're making an All-Australian team at the moment, Gawn's probably a ruckman. Libba could be in there. Sidebottom could be in there. And Danger could be in there as well.
Is Libba over 30?
Libba would be 32, 33. Let's have a look.
Oh, man. I'm going to die soon.
He's 32. So if you're doing, we'll probably do over 31s. I feel like it's a pretty big group if you're doing 30 and over. So if it's 31 and over, still probably got a good list of players who would be in
we
there.
Should do an
Travis
over
Boak,
30,
Pendles.
over 30s, and then do that bracket versus the under 25s. I don't know. Or the winner of that one versus
so
the
Dacos versus Gawn or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to put in my tip now, but
are you saying they go and win the?
I reckon.
He would have to be top three.
If you're going into everything, current form, accolades, career, you could still probably play for a couple more years. It'd be him or Danger or Pendles going off probably those groups.
Yeah.
If it's strictly off form, I reckon Sidebottom or Liberatore would be pretty well favoured alongside Gawn.
Who would you reckon's in the top three?
Yeah, probably those guys. That's not hard to argue with at the moment. They're all in ripping form. I think sneaky one that's probably not going to get any votes, but I've just liked how he's performing is Jack Gunston's kicked 13 goals in 3 games.
I agree. He's,
I thought he was over it probably last year. I thought he'd fade out, do a bit of
a sub a couple.
He was a sub a lot of the time, or he played VFL and he was developing the younger group. And I thought that'd probably be what his role would be this year. But he's shown up when we haven't, when Hawthorn haven't at times, and he's continuing to hit the scoreboard even at 33. So if we make the criteria based off form, maybe you'll get up there. But I think, and overall career he's won premierships, but he's not the star caliber player that a Max Gawn or a Patrick.
Yeah, it'd be hard. Zorko.
A couple interesting ones. You got Jeremy Cameron, Tom Stewart, Adam Treloar, Jeremy McGovern, Stephen May. The interesting one would be Nat Fyfe because he's got no form, but he's probably a top 1-2 player on this list, probably top 3 player on this list with Gawn and Dangerfield and Pendles. So
at his peak,
make your pick out of those 4. Cameron as well. So there's a few interesting ones, but maybe we'll look into over 31 bracket or over 30 bracket. Or something
I think we should do it. Yeah, I think we should do that. Add that
over 31 doesn't sound cool, but it's probably what we have to do.
Why not just over 30s? Like, is it?
Who do you get?
You're
there?
still selecting.
Looks like Jack McRae, Lockie
Might
Whitfield. There's probably not going to be anyone that's. I think Bont might be. Jesus, Bont 30 this year.
I think he's 29. I think he turns 30 after the season.
Oh my god, I'm gonna die soon.
He's 30 in November, so I think going off how we made it eligible, he would be eligible for the 30 because it's this year. It's not. It's not. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't seem like he's at that age, but he is.
No, but apparently people are just hitting their peak at 30 now. It's 39 or 42 or whatever Sidebottom is.
Yeah, that's what Ross Lyon said last week about Max King. He's just like he's 24 or whatever.
Yeah,
players aren't peaking now until they're. Look at Hogan and I can't remember who else he mentioned.
Well, key forwards.
Danaher was another one. Like players aren't at their best sometimes until they're past the age of 30. So
key forwards are different though.
Yeah. That's what the comparison you made was with Hogan and Danaher, and that no point rushing him back from injury when you've got potentially his best footy's not another few years.